Okay, well, welcome guys today. Today we're going to be discussing branding and how to communicate via social media using a brand story and what that actually looks like when it comes to communicating personal experiences, being vulnerable, and I'm going to honestly tell you what it's done for my personal business. So for those of you who've never met me, my name is Lizy Hoeffer. I have done residential mortgages here since 2008. I've been in the industry though since 2002. I most notably came into popularity about 6 years ago when I got fired from my job. And all of the tactics that I learned to rebuild my business is actually how I developed this class. And I've actually also taken a ton of different marketing courses just on communicating stories since that day. But this whole journey started for me when I actually got fired from my job. So when you get fired from your job, a couple things happen, okay? One, you'll lose any ego that you ever had, so there's that. And two, you don't leave with a database. So one of the most powerful tools that I had to my disposal was actually social media, and at the time it was Facebook. That was the biggest platform that was available. And so what I did is I communicated the story online. So I wrote a very, very long post, had a photo of me, I think I was in a prayer mode. And it just basically said, look, I have something really terrible to tell you. I actually got fired from my job for being a work terrorist. Right, so I made fun of getting fired. I was an emotional entrepreneur, which some of you guys will be able to understand. You want everything perfect. You're so worried about the client looking, making a mistake is the biggest thing that you're scared of, right? So some of us are very emotional. That was me. And so I made fun of it. I said, hey, I got fired for being a work terrorist. Here's all the things that I learned. One, I learned that for me, passion changes everything. I want to run a business that's full of integrity, centered around the client experience. For me, that's the most important thing. But two, I have to learn better ways to funnel my emotions. So I'm going to leadership training. I've just picked up this book called Delivering Happiness, and I'm committed to positive change. I did not bash my old employer. I didn't talk about any of the politics. I owned it 100%. And then I said, if you give me a second chance, I promise I'll never let you down. Okay? So this was the first story. I actually took out several ads, right, from that story. But what do you think that did? I want this to be interactive. What did you get out from the story, just generally? First thoughts.
I would think you'd have some people who would relate.
Okay, so it was relatable. Okay.
Vulnerable.
Did you say honorable?
Vulnerable.
Or vulnerable, okay.
Transparent.
Okay.
Well, if one door shuts, the other one opens.
So maybe opportunity. Right, for opportunity? Okay, what else?
Conversation starter.
Conversation starter. If you read that post, what would you have responded to me if you knew me and cared about me?
You would have responded, well, first of all.
Are you okay?
Ask me for help, how you could help, right?
Yeah.
Right, so maybe the underdog. Who would it have made you in that story?
The hero.
The hero.
The nurturer.
Right? So story branding is all about getting the who in your life to care about your what. Okay? And the key factors into making that happen is you have to create an environment or a story, right, that sets you up as either the guide or the underdog, but your who always has to be the hero. This is how you get people to care. Now, that happened for me organically. I literally was needing people to care about my story, and I really needed them to want to help me. And so it became crucial for me to get this out. This is actually how I built my database. People were like, how can I help you? And I'm like, well, one, I need your phone number and your email address. And are you okay if I market to you? Do you know anyone who's willing to buy a property, right? This was it, like to everyone I knew. We pulled out my cell phone and called every single person with the exact same message. Now, most people will have more than 300 contacts in their cell phone, so could you imagine making 300 phone calls? How many leads would you have? Okay, if you had a dynamic story that made people be the hero, do you think you'd get people to help you? Okay, so up until that time, I had closed on average about 13 deals a month. Okay, the month after I got fired from my job, I closed 19 deals. The month after that, I closed 27. So the year that I got fired, the year before I got fired, I closed 167 deals, which is a top producer in the lending industry. But the next year, the year I actually literally got fired, was 238.
Wow.
Okay, then 412, 534, 610, 844, and then this year we just closed 865 deals as of yesterday. Okay, yay, thank you. So that's the power in storytelling and having people become raving fans of your brand. Okay, now, if you open your booklets, right, we're just gonna go through the framework, and then I'd love, because we are a smaller class, and I do just want to shout out, we do have 2 branding experts in the back here, from Activated Agents. I'd love for you guys to, let's create your brand stories here, right? Because it's a small enough group and we have enough time to do that. Are you guys cool with that? Do you guys feel comfortable with that? Okay. So, your story, just so you guys know, is comprised of no more than 5 things. I get it, we're complex. We probably could be described in more than 5 things, right? But let me tell you, if it's more than 5 things, it's way, way, way too complicated for people to comprehend, okay? Now, when I created this, okay, this was my brand story, okay? So it has changed a little bit, so just so you know, because I'm going to show you, this is where it started, and I'm going to tell you where it's evolved, okay? So we're on page 1. So first and foremost, I am a mom, right? But I'm not just any kind of mom. I am a working mom, okay? So what's important about distinguishing that fact is that, people who would follow my story are probably going to be other working moms, and solutions that I can provide to working moms is very, very important, right? So you always want to think about the type of category that you are and the solutions you're going to be providing for that category, okay? So write that down. Think about solutions, right, for your category, okay? Now, the other thing that I am is I'm somebody's wife, and my husband is also an entrepreneur, okay, which makes our life very exciting and also stressful. Okay, so again, I would talk about being an entrepreneur's wife. I am a loan officer, right? And you've noticed here that I communicate what happens behind the scenes, right? What's going on in the market, what's going on in interest rates, right? That is something that I do. So I would say that I know more about financial news than the average loan officer. Okay. Then I'm a coach, right? I coach lots of real estate agents and loan officers throughout the country, right? I teach them on marketing, on tips on saving money, time, all that stuff, right? This has become a whole lot more defined. And at the time, one of my biggest goals was work-life balance. Okay. So I constantly talked about travel, but it was mainly work-life balance. Travel is a big interest of mine. I love traveling. Okay, if my brand story was today, right, I've actually narrowed it down to, I rarely talk about being an entrepreneur's wife, let's get real. I love my husband, he's got his own business, okay? But I do talk about being a loan officer, so I give home buyer tips, right, and home buyer tips on down payment, on credit. I talk about being a mom, working moms is still a real struggle. And I give financial literacy information, right? So I teach basic people like you and I how to know about money principles like inflation, the cost of goods, right? How to set up a proper budget, right? How to repair your credit, right? I want to become somebody who's, when you think of money, I want you to think of me. Okay? I'm still also a coach, right? So a lot of my messaging has to do with practical tips on business, time management, marketing, right? Still all the same things, right? So I've narrowed it down though to pretty much 4 things. And honestly, like, being a working mom is the least amount of things that I post about. Okay? So it's really loan officer basics, financial basics, coaching. Okay? Because online, right, the people who have followed me the most, the people who buy into my brand story, are first-time homebuyers, right? That's the #1 clientele that I have. It's real estate agents. Okay, it's other loan officers from around the country, because I do get a lot of referrals that way. Okay? And, you know, being a working mom is who I am, right? So it's the thing that's the most authentic to me. Okay, so does that make sense?
Mhm.
It's really 3 primary, and then I'm a mom, so I love posting about my kids. Okay? Does that all make sense? Okay? Now take a moment. I want you to write down 5 things that you can think of, your main interests, and then we're going to really break them down. And then we're going to find out who your clientele is and what solutions you provide. Okay? So take a moment. It's okay if it's hard at first, but you guys should know, like, you know, organically what things you like. Like if you love to cook, write it down.
Can I grab a packet?
Yes.
Sorry.
Here you go. It's on the ground. On the ground.
Sorry.
It's okay. The people watching on YouTube, this is what my life is like. That was Zeb Adams, in case you were wondering. We love you. And you're wearing stripes, zebra. I love it. We're defining our brand stories right now.
Perfect. Thank you.
You get one more, Sammy.
Really?
Nope. No. We're defining our brand stories right now. Page 1.
Well, for the two comments.
Thank you.
Right, we have those. Things. Coach. Yeah, yeah. You're a active participant.
Okay. Does anyone, well, I might pick on the 2 people that look like they're done. Can I get you to share yours, Ashley?
Yeah. So I wrote wife, which is new.
Love it. Okay. So,
So newlywed is what I like narrowed it to. Oh, your pen is.
I know. I'm gonna get a new one. Okay. So newlywed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then I put realtor.
Okay. What kind of realtor?
Well, that's what I was starting to kind of elaborate on. I don't know. I mean,
Who do you help?
like, I guess a lot of first-time home buyers.
All right.
Maybe it's that spot.
Yes. Maybe. Okay. So let's. Okay. So we got newlywed. This is like baby poop color. Anyone else think that?
Thanksgiving.
Okay, so realtor for first-time homebuyers.
I don't carrots.
Okay. You thought of carrots. I know this is the working mom in me, the 1-year-old. Okay, there we go. Okay, what else?
Well, then I got a little stretchy here, but
Okay.
theater
Nope, that's who you are.
is a thing I do.
And you
then,
think you love too, right?
Yeah. And then I was thinking like maybe like food, drink, like new places.
Now,
That gets tricky.
it does.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Are you somebody that frequents new restaurants? Yes or no?
No.
I know. Okay. Are you somebody that has weird taste in food?
No, so it's not that interesting.
It's not what your real thing is, right?
Right.
It's okay, guys, if you only have 3.
Okay.
Because remember, mine is like basically 3-2.
Yeah.
Here's why, right? We don't want to have vague ones because if you're not going to visit restaurants all the time, do you think you're really going to provide value?
No.
Probably not, right? So when it comes to these things, I'm going to show you this. This is one of my most favorite things I learned, like literally all of 2019, okay? So when it comes to like where we can provide the most value, it starts off with your zone of genius, right? So you know everything there is to know about theater. Like, it's literally her major in college. She was a child actress. She's been in a ton of plays. Like, if you were going to see and know about the best shows here in Phoenix, who would you probably call?
Ashley.
And you probably know what's coming to town and who is playing what and what actresses are who and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like, this is truly a zone of genius for you, okay? Now, what's cool is a lot of theater actors also have full-time jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're gonna break that down a little bit because we can also impart value, okay? So first things first is zone of genius. Then it's things you're good at, right? Now, what other things do you like to do? Are you a reader? Do you like to cook?
Yeah, I like to cook.
How often do you cook?
Well, recently, not enough.
Okay.
But yeah, I was cooking like 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay. So
that's
you
more of
probably
like a
mention
not.
that in your
Yeah,
newlywed, right?
that goes with that.
Okay. Okay, what else?
That I'm good at,
Mm-hmm.
or I like to do. I don't know.
So I'm going to mention this as a zone of genius right here, and this is the thing you're good at. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like with that, it could be like dog.
Okay.
Could go with that.
Okay.
You know, like
Okay.
you like dogs.
I mean, I have a dog. I definitely wouldn't post about my dog.
Oh, okay.
Like, for real, did you guys, I mean, you follow me, do you know I have a dog? Right? I know. I love Scooter,
Yeah.
but I've never talked about him. That Seb's brother talks about my dog more than me. Okay, right. So then it's competence. Okay, which is real estate. Okay. Okay, then it's things you're learning. Okay, so this could be a good book you're reading, it could be a podcast you're listening to, it
I
could be...
listen to lots of podcasts.
Okay. What do you listen to podcasts on?
Well,
No, it's okay, whatever
sometimes
it is.
it's trashy.
No, it's
like
great, it's
true
better if
crime
it's trashy. True crime?
stuff.
Trash.
I mean, and then
Okay.
A
yeah,
lot of people listen to that,
I
actually.
know.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with
I
that.
go on YouTube and watch these crime shows.
No, guys, we're
like
building
prison
a
shows.
legit brand story right now.
and then I also love reality TV. Love it. That's the trashy side of that.
This is Jersey Shore.
Yeah, like Real Housewives.
Okay.
But yeah.
Now, in marketing, okay, what happens is, okay, the inner circle is so small, right? Like what we feel like we're passionate about, it feels too nichey. It feels like no one's gonna care about this, right? That's what most people think, and because this extends out into the universe, right? There's so much more to talk about, and we see what everyone else is doing. We tend to want to start here. But can you really provide value on something that you really don't care about? Like, you're just going to regurgitate something that somebody could Google. Are you better than Google?
Probably not.
Right? Now, what people pay you for is your expertise and your opinion on their subject matter. Okay? So what we always want to try to do is canter this way, outward. Okay? So in a brand story, right? So we've got her brand story. We know what she's going to be good at, right? It's not like recipes for her husband are not the thing that lights her up. Okay? It's just not.
Right.
She's learning about this, right? Because she's listening to new episodes all the time. Yes or no? Okay? So if you were somebody that follows her, let's figure out who would follow somebody like this, right? Like, I'm sure that there's demographics on people who listen to this type of thing, right? How many of you guys listen to true crime here? Raise your hand. Or a podcast similar. Okay? I mean, I do. Let's get real. And I love reality TV. Anyone else love reality TV? Okay. So, very, very quickly, this girl does too. I'm not sure why she didn't raise her hand. She is a TV junkie.
Okay, not reality TV though. Like every crime show.
I know, but you didn't raise your hand. This is what I'm talking about.
That was podcasts.
This would be TV, podcast, but now that you know that there's a podcast, you might check it out. I know this girl. She once spent an entire weekend watching Scrubs, like all of the Scrubs. Okay?
It's a good show.
I'm a hardcore binger.
I know you are, so it's like you're running out of TV. But anyway, it's millennials. Right? Like we just, in a room full of people, all of the millennials raise their hand when it's talking about this. Okay? So we want to pay attention to that, right? Okay, so millennials right here. Okay? Now, are millennials also first-time homebuyers?
Yes.
They're actually the largest percentage of first-time homebuyers. Okay? Right? Are millennials also newlyweds? Probably just because of the age dynamic.
Right.
Okay? And I don't know how many of them love the theater.
Probably not a lot.
Well, I don't know actually,
Yeah.
but that would be something to look into, okay? So this is the type of realtor that you need to be. Okay, so what do we need to provide for millennials? Just offhand, like if you did a little bit of research, right, on millennials, what are millennial problems? Right now. Top of your head.
Debt.
Student loan debt. Okay, what else?
Depression.
Alright, emotions.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
I wasn't raising my hand, but probably figuring anything out, like just needing instant gratification instead of taking the time to figure
Technology.
something out.
Okay.
Like instead of all my friends that don't know anything about real estate back at home call me, I can just tell them to Google something or try to use some resources to figure something out.
So I'm going to give you a couple other ones. It's income.
Yeah, I was thinking high-paying jobs.
They don't have high-paying jobs. Average millennial makes $38,000 a year.
We're not seeing a whole lot of that.
Yeah. Gen Xers $100,000. Just saying. And they're on LinkedIn, not Instagram, I can tell you. Okay, so instant gratification. Okay, so instant gratification, they love technology. What else? If you looked up research like key motivations, they typically will look up their information online, but they seek a professional with actual like opinions on their subject matter. So they're more willing to research you ahead of time, right, than anyone else, right? Like baby boomers, Gen Xers, they're not going to go onto your YouTube page and watch your videos. They're not going to look at your Instagram. Like I literally met with a girl Monday, and she mentioned she had a 12-year-old son, and I was like, oh my God, I have 3 children. All of their ages add up together to 12. I was just joking. She's like, oh, I know, I follow you on Instagram. And she like named my kids. And I was like, that's different. I was like, okay. I was like, this is cool. She had seen all of my YouTubes, right? She had chosen me. Funny enough, I guess I didn't put enough, which, put a note on this for later. I didn't mention enough that I'm from Arizona on my social media. It's not something that was forefront in my mind. And so what happened is I had recorded a video on YouTube with a real estate agent here, and he said he's the Phoenix real estate guy. And the only reason we got the lead is because he mentioned that he's in Phoenix, and then all of a sudden we're both from Phoenix. We were already her people. Okay? So where do millennials hang out? Instagram and YouTube. Okay? So write down that you need to be on Instagram and YouTube. Okay. And now we have to create a brand story, right, that presents you as the guide and them as the hero. So when you're being the guide, right, and not the underdog, right, so when you're trying to attract clients to you based on your expertise, right, what we're trying to do is figure out what their main problems would be. Okay. So their main problems, obviously, debt, income, assets. Okay. So what types of solutions could you provide as a real estate agent in your area of competency?
Well, getting linked up with the right lender.
Having a good lender partner, write that down, that's a good one. What else?
Credit repair.
Credit repair is one thing. What else?
I mean, a lot of people think you need 20% down. That goes with the lender thing.
Presenting to them their options for down payments. So down payment options, write that down. Going along with down payment options, what else is available? You guys are realtors, I'm really going to push you here. Like if someone says, I don't have a down payment.
Down payment assistance.
Down payment assistance! Write that down. No, seriously, these are real things you should be talking about in your area of competency. Now, most first-time homebuyers also don't know the process.
Right.
Okay, could you talk about like tips on how to prepare? Now, careful with tips. If it is something that people can Google, it is not appropriate for your story. So I see lots of times people go, 3 tips on credit. And it's like, have 4 different revolving accounts. Okay, that's something they can Google. Why don't you tell them which accounts have the lowest interest and your personal opinion on which ones are best, right? Lowest interest, no annual fees, right? 0% interest for 15 months. You love Discover, right? Expertise versus what you can Google. Okay, do you understand the difference? Okay, as a guide, right, we want to teach what we know. So write this down too. We teach what we know. Okay. We train them how to do it themselves. Okay? Here's where you go to find the application. Before you apply, you need to have X, Y, and Z. Okay? Now, every social media, every message, every postcard, every letter, every time you communicate to someone should also have a call to action to meet and close in person. Write that down. So we teach what we know, we train how to do it themselves, and we have a call to action to close them in person. Okay. All right. So we know that we've figured out what she's going to help them with her level of competency. Did we get that in brand story? Okay. Now, you can mix this up with all the other things, right? So long as your area of competency where we're trying to get leads has those 3 things, you're either teaching them what you know, your expertise, you're training them with the how-to, where to go find the best things, the insider knowledge, and then, call to action, bringing them in person, okay? Everything else can be fun, okay? And this is how social media isn't work. Right? This is how it's actually fairly easy to communicate what you need, right? Because you're going, oh my God, did any of you guys listen to the true crime podcast last night? Literally, I feel like the emoji with my head exploding.
Right.
Okay? If you've never tuned into this, download it here. It's amazing, right? It's like my favorite binge, whatever. Okay? People who like crime mysteries and maybe have watched every Netflix special there is and are looking for their next true crime fix, right, are going to go and be like, oh my God, I've never listened to a podcast, right? And then on her story, she could be like, what did you think? Vote A or B, right, for engagement, okay? What's important about the engagement posts, guys, is that algorithms change on a regular basis, but what doesn't change is that they will always push your information to people that you actually have engagement with. So people you message back and forth, people you like their comments, all of that stuff, which is super important, which is why you have to be multi-dimensional, but not crazy dimensional. Okay? Now, newlyweds, right? So this is also one where you can incorporate your busy schedule as a real estate agent. Okay? Oh my God, I just figured out the most amazing Instapot recipe. It is so delicious. It cooks while I'm away. I literally had 3 different showings this week with amazing clients. Couldn't make dinner, for my family. Here's what I did. Boom, 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 boom. A busy professional newlywed is going to care about this. And oh, by the way, you kind of did this humble brag thing, which you're just throwing in there that you're a competent real estate agent, helping 3 different families so busy you couldn't make dinner. Okay? The thing is, it's not a humble brag because you're providing value. You're just also throwing in the reason that you couldn't make dinner is because you're a busy real estate agent. Okay? So if you're somebody, and I have seen Julie Kauza, if you guys follow her on social media, this was one of her best posts, right? She's super busy feeding her child, healthy meals is a core value for her, right? She talks about, healthy living. So this was one of her biggest posts because she's providing value to people who follow her, right? So people who want an Instapot recipe are going to love that. They're going to follow, buy more into her story. And then when they think of real estate, right, they'll also think of her because she's providing them with value. Okay? Whenever you're promoting real estate in terms of closings and houses that are for sale, you also want to keep this brand story top of mind. Okay? So if you're going to promote yourself, right, which is not a category on here, but you can promote using social media, so long as you don't forget who the hero of the story is. Okay? Most of us want to be the hero in every story. So if we're promoting that we just sold a house, we're saying, congratulations, I just helped this borrower close on this home. Who's the hero? You. Yeah. Instead of being congratulations, Ashley, I'm so excited for you. I know you guys just got married and this is going to be a beautiful transition. I wish you lots of memories in your new home. It was a pleasure showing you properties. You guys are literally the funniest human beings on earth. I enjoyed your Instapot recipes, right? And I thank you for trusting me in the process and allowing me to help you with your home purchase. Okay? Because she's the one who achieved, this was a major goal, congratulations, this is huge. You really worked hard for this. You're really amazing. It was a pleasure to show you the 60 homes. Right? Thank you for trusting my process. Right? When you say trust my process, what are you indirectly saying?
Trust you.
Trust you. What else? What does process mean? System. You have a system for success. Okay? So if I say my proven process, right, you know that I've helped other people be successful. These people were just successful. Okay? When you also talk about the process of helping people, right, I've also coached people on, you worked really hard for 6 months to prepare yourself with credit, with down payment. You worked hard for this, right? What are we saying? You can buy with lower credit, you can save up for your down payment, I can guide you through this process. Okay, without saying, I can guide you through the process. Okay? Right? They did all the hard work. Don't forget to pay honor, right? To say something personal and make it so that they feel so honored by your post they want to share it. Okay? You want shareable content here, right? This is again how people buy into you. Okay? Does everyone understand a brand story? Does anyone else want to try to do a brand story? You guys are so quiet. Do we really like it? Yes or no? Yeah? Okay. Do you want to try the brand story?
Yeah. Because I've been trying this, and it is extremely difficult.
No, it's okay. And that's why I wanted to do it.
And that's why I actually wanted to talk to you even last week.
Oh, good.
So I'm glad that you decided to
Just do this.
to just suddenly do this for everybody.
Right? Okay, good. All right. So let's write down your categories. What are they?
Okay. I'm a retired medical doctor.
Retired doctor. Okay.
And I practice alternative medicine.
Ooh, alternative medicine.
Holistic, integrative, you come up with, whatever words you want. I studied friggin' everything. It was exhausting.
Great. What else?
And that's still my favorite hobby.
So you're so genius.
But I don't want to do it for a living.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're also a realtor.
I'm also a realtor. And it's like our body is our temple, right? And our home is our castle. So it's like the house is the bigger piece of us, if you will.
So holistic homes.
Yes, and I know how to work with.
I really feel like that's a really good one. Does
Yeah,
holistic
it's
homes
good.
taken?
There you go.
Huh?
No.
Very good. I'm listening.
Write that down though. Like check if that's
Look at-
taken.
Yeah.
No one else take it. You
Or
give it
like
to her.
holistic homes AZ or
Okay.
whatever.
I should have bought it.
Of course it
I'll
would.
sell it to you.
Okay. No, but holistic homes, because this is how it's going to tie in, girl. I think you get it more than you think. Okay, holistic.
No, I get it. Because it's not only because I really understand also the toxic chemicals that are put in, like new homes, and how to remodel without the toxic chemicals.
She's good.
I know.
I understand this, but I don't know how to write it out and put it out there. So
Okay,
this
hold
is
on,
like
hold on.
fabulous.
So we're gonna just go through this. So we have holistic homes,
Okay.
right? And we're gonna. So this is competence. I love this. Okay. What other thing? What other? Are you a mom, wife,
No,
single gal?
not exactly. But I live with my ex-husband.
Alternative family.
We're frenemies, okay?
Okay. Well, all right. What else?
So we may want to skip that one. But I'm very.
Maybe.
Well, I might go back to that, but so
Yeah, okay.
where are you from?
Detroit, and that's actually a big thing because Midwesterners talk to each other differently.
Great.
Yes.
So
And I thought about
Midwest.
doing a Midwesterners club. I haven't figured out how to do this yet, sort of as a networking group, because Midwesterners know that we're too direct.
No worries. We're just gonna keep you focused. So what else? Sorry.
I love finding alternatives to toxic junk.
That's already in here. Okay.
Okay, so what else? That's all I do.
Okay.
I do,
It's
but
okay.
I love finding people a home when, particularly the people that are paying, oh my God, $1,800 and more dollars per month in rent. And I am just like, let's get you into a house. I love it. And I'm very analytical. I've got an undergraduate degree in sciences, and I've been told I think like a mechanical engineer. I mean, I've learned how to write. I can't draw worth a crap. I mean, I'm not like artistic. I don't know how to, if you want somebody to do home staging, I hire it done.
No.
But you know what I'm saying? So I'm like that over on that end. I don't know how to do that, hire it done.
Okay.
And like I was talking to somebody earlier today about how I move. When I move from one house to another, I do it within about 3 days, okay? I have people pack me up. I put my clothing and my personal things in my car. I have people pack up everything. I take my stuff over there, and then I have people unpack me. Okay, put the dishes away, put the butt.
Can I? How scheduled are you?
For what?
Anything? Like, do you follow your calendar? Are you wake up every morning at the same time?
Nope.
Okay.
I am not scheduled.
So the only thing that you are very scheduled on is moving.
Yeah, well.
You said you were an engineer, so I'm trying to figure
No,
out
I'm
if you
not
got
an
systems.
engineer. I
You're
think.
an engineer, mind.
Yeah. Okay.
But so you're not super systematized.
Structure.
No, I'm very analytical, but I don't know what you mean when
It's
I'm
okay.
asked
No. I'm
questions.
trying to figure out this other one.
Yeah, I'm trying
All right.
to figure out
So
what you're
then,
asking.
who of the people that you've helped in real estate, what age group are they?
Well, I'm finding that I really communicate with the people that are my age group. The probably, 50, 60, and till, 75, 80, somewhere in there. I just can relate to them better. And when it comes to technology, it's a friggin' nightmare for me.
Okay, so baby boomers.
And I go shopping like in the grocery store, and I notice that in the mornings, that's when the older people are there. And later in the day, it's like the younger people, the working.
Damn
But
younger people. Just damn those younger people.
Yeah, no, it's not that problem, but I'm like,
Girl, I'm just
wow.
kidding.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we have baby boomers, but you know what else I think? I honestly think that you could be talking to moms. Like when you said all that stuff about chemicals and things, like the first thing I said is, oh man, I didn't think about that. Like in my mind, I'm thinking, I really wish I had paid more attention to that, and I really feel like you'll end up getting people who have families who will really care about that. Anybody who's into like a holistic lifestyle. I think vegans are probably in there. People who are non-toxic, minimalists. Like you should write down all these words because these are really good things.
I missed them all.
Minimalists, vegans, anyone who's into holistic health is one.
And that's like huge on Instagram.
Moms, I know. But when we're talking about these, because these are the words you want to use, right, and the topics you want to write about.
What do you mean by minimalist?
So generally people who have like minimal amount of things in their homes,
That's
right?
me. That's me.
Yeah, they generally don't like garbage, junk, right? Like this would be something that would...
Yeah, open space.
Yep.
Yeah, just mainly open spaces and everything. Not a whole lot of things on walls or whatever.
Yeah, totally, right? So, but those are the types of people that would be interested in this, right? So we have moms, okay. So, I definitely think that these people would be here because you're a respected, retired medical doctor. I probably would have a messaging on LinkedIn, right? This is an area where I actually feel that if you were, because one, I imagine you're probably a good intellectual writer, and people who care about this that are in an, I mean, truthfully, like you have a thought process, you definitely are a thought leader in this type of field, you know what I mean, and as it relates to real estate, this is where those types of people are going to look for that kind of content. Like, they're not going to be looking for this kind of content on Instagram. Okay? Now, you could have video content, which I think is very important for you, and I also think you do really well because you are a thought leader, right, that you could post on YouTube or Instagram, right, for that kind of thing. But I do think that this messaging is more appropriate for LinkedIn, and for the age demographics of people that you're looking for, I think that's spot on. So how you would communicate this is, honestly, you would talk about holistic health practices. Just give tips. Share your expertise. This is your zone of genius. This is where people are going to find you. Okay? So, like, worst chemicals you find in real estate. Worst chemicals you find in a new home build, right? The same thing where you're talking about, you know, how to remodel a home for less, you know, with less toxins, I thought you said, for minimal amount of cost, right? You could talk about it, right?
On a video.
On a video, I think in a post, I think in a newsletter, right? Like, and the advice you're really going to provide is regarding, like, the latest and greatest on what's going on in holistic health and naturopath, right? And then you're going to talk about as it relates to home buyers, right, and homes, right, and things that you upgrade your properties on, materials, etc. Okay? And then you could talk about Midwestern stuff. If you like any kind of sports from the Midwest, right, I'm not, you know, or if there's a certain food that you're missing, if, you know, there's so many great snowbirds, you could start a meetup for people that are from Detroit. There's actually several meetups from Detroit already. You could just join them, Facebook groups. You know, you could definitely do that. And then just talk about your Midwestern roots and how it relates to Arizona. Okay? But your solutions, really, truthfully, are going to be aimed at those people who really care, right? Baby boomers care a lot about their health, right? Because as they're getting older, right, being healthy is way more important.
Oh, they feel it.
100%.
They feel all the damage they've done.
A 20-year-old drinking on the weekends does not care about his health right now, right? Not your client.
No, but and
Right.
when after he fractures his whatever and starts hurting when he's 50.
Just like I said, damn the young people. So the thing is, that's why it's appropriate for LinkedIn. Okay? So more articles, more videos, the more things that you can provide in terms of healthy solutions for homes, healthy solutions for renovations, healthy solutions just in general, right? That's going to be the biggest issues. Most moms really care about that kind of stuff, right? Even though it's not like a zone of passion for me, if I saw the article, I would definitely read it. You would definitely spark my interest, right? And, you know, I'm bummed that more real estate agents don't talk about this.
1 in 9 children today have asthma, and it's somewhat related to all the chemicals and dust and crap and
In your
air
home?
pollution in the home, yes.
Yeah, like that's, like literally I would start off with that statement alone, and it's literally because of all the chemicals. I can give you a list of all of the safe cleaning products to have in your home. Right? I spent the last 30 years as a holistic doctor. I now practice real estate agent. I'm now practicing real estate agent. My passion is to make sure that all homes are holistic.
Cool.
You're amazing. You are
She's so
always
good.
amazing.
Well, good. Mic drop. No, just kidding.
Videotape that personally.
That's the.
Okay. So we've literally thought about them, right? You've written them. This is your practice for later, right? Because I wanted you guys just to get like the juices flowing, right? My brand experts, what feedback do you have?
I would just say have a platform to speak your voice and then share it out to social media and do it consistently.
Okay. Right? I think that that's awesome. I think social media is absolutely a key factor here, no matter what. Okay? Now, one thing that I wanted to touch on, I touched on it a little bit, right? So communication with clients has to be 3 to 5 times a week minimum. Okay? When you're trying to communicate a brand story. Because of the way social media works, because of the way that people live their lives, we're all very, very busy. We only see about 2% of all content that's put out by our friends. Okay? 2%. Okay? So a couple things that you need. 2 active social media profiles. 2. Right? And then you also need an email list. Okay? An email list is so super important. It's literally how I've built my business. Also happened to be organic, right? So I provide weekly tips on what's going on with the interest rate market and some marketing tips for real estate agents. I also send it out to clients with money tips, right? It's very, very helpful because if the algorithm changes, I know I still have a way to get my message out. Okay? So really, really important. And it's also a way for you, again, to be a thought leader. Okay? So like emailing out the toxic list, I can tell you, like, every mom will want that. Yeah. Okay. So you always have to remember, right? We created a brand story, but you always have to remember you are either the guide or the underdog. Everyone's either going to want to help you, and you're going to be asking for help and communicating that you're just starting your business, that everyone else is smarter than you, that everyone else has all the solutions. This is the truth, right? If you're an underdog, or you're going to be the guide, and every single thing has to have a benefit to the person, right, that is reading your message, okay? So part of the reason why I wanted you to identify what you offer, right, who you are, and then who this relates to, is because you always have to be talking solutions to these people. If you're only talking about benefits, if you're only regurgitating the things that you offer, so features like you're great communicator, great customer service, you show properties, you have access, see this property, it's just like more noise. Like people won't grasp onto it, they won't stop, it like doesn't benefit them at all, they don't understand why you, right? I see real estate agents do this all the time. They post a property, they're like, great property, $300,000. Chandler. And it's like, well, what kind of person lives in this property? What kind of neighborhood is this home located in? What restaurants are, like, can I see myself living there? No. If I was looking specifically for a $300,000 home in somewhere in Chandler, right, maybe that would appeal to me. Maybe. But like, let's get real. Most homes in Arizona are like, what is it? What do you guys know? They all look the same.
Cookie cutter.
Yeah, they're cookie cutter, a development home, right? So the picture isn't going to be like, oh my God, on a $300,000 home in Chandler. Okay, it's probably going to be Manila with a normal garage and a cactus. And a bunch of rocks. Okay? Like, that's not what's going to appeal to them, right? But they're going to want to know, if they're a mom, that this was built with some of the best materials ever, very non-toxic for your families, in the most amazing school district, and a park's around the corner. right? If you were a mom, wouldn't you care? Okay, and it's built with safe materials. It's an awesome builder. You have them vetted, right? This is amazing, right? Or it's like, oh my God, this home is located next to all of the amazing restaurants. Let me tell you, they're all within walking distance. It's right next to the piano bar. It's high rise of a city. You can see the lake. It's amazing, right? Because who's gonna want minimal, maintenance, no backyard, pet friendly, right? This is how we communicate that, right? So it always has to have a benefit, and people have to visualize themselves with your solution. Okay? So no solution, bad post. No hero, bad post. You're the hero, bad post. Okay? Do we get it? So you're either, no? Do we do it again? Okay. So you're either who or who in your brand story?
Underdog or guide.
Yes. Gold star. All right. Okay, so I gave you an example of a benefit story here, so that way you guys can take it, translate it, make it your own. Okay, and again, more homework for you. I've reiterated this multiple times because I wanted to give you a framework to be able to take this home later and be able to do it. This is going to get better and better the more thought that you put on it, right? If you want a good example, I think it's a good example. You can follow me on social media, Lizy Irvine, right, on Instagram. That's where I put most of my posts, right? I think it's weird to say that yours is the good example, but I do put a lot of attention, right, in constantly branding my story. Okay, so the last couple of posts that I did, can you bring them up on your phone?
Lizy, how far do you plan your posts in advance?
1 week.
1 week?
So I plan them every Sunday. I use an app called Planoly. Essentially what I do is I journal every single day. It's part of who I am. I journal every morning. And then I look at all my journal posts, and then I go, well, this is what really came up for me this week. These are the solutions that I can provide on that. I've already written out all the content because I journal. I just share it with the world. And those are my posts. Okay, so I go through the framework of who's my hero, what solution am I doing, how can people see themselves being successful with this story. I got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Right, and so that's what I'm currently doing. So if we look at the last couple of posts that I did, right, so this was my Money Tip Monday. This goes out to my clients. It also went out to my real estate agents. It was a conversation with a multimillionaire and my big key takeaways for what people could do on their own. Okay? Then I talked about, this was also, so that's my money guide, right? So I'm a money guide. Then my next post was for my coaching, right? So if every decision you made was a tally for the type of person you wanted to be, what decisions would you make, right? And then I give some tips, and then I remind people that I'm here to help them if that's something that interests them, okay? And then this one, right, again, it was Entrepreneur Day. Sometimes I use the national calendar to help me with some posting. I'm basic like that. Okay. Right, this was for Entrepreneur Day. It's funny to bring back old photos of yourselves. Have you seen your old photos from 10 years ago? They're awesome, especially to post on social media. I'm not sure what was going on with one layer. It was very short. Right, but we talk about it. It's funny. I tell the story about how I started, and I remind people and thank them for helping me. Right, so again, who am I reinforcing as my hero? Everyone else is the hero. You've built my business. Thank you so much. Right, it's a gratitude post. Right, so in 2 of them, I'm giving tips. Right, I'm showing people how they can be successful, and in 1, I'm thanking them for helping me be successful. Okay, it's kind of like that with my posts. You'll always see gratitude, right, which is my underdog, and my helping tips for guide. Okay, more guide posts than underdog posts, right? So I would say 3 to 1, and then every 5th post I post about my children. Mainly my youngest, because he's my favorite. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He's just the baby, and babies are so fun. And my middle child never wants to take a photo anymore.
Oh.
So it just happens. Okay. What other questions do you guys have?
I would say, starting out when you're doing
Mhm.
this, it's really a challenge to find the time. Monday through Friday is working, and then weekend is probably the time where you can brainstorm and get it out. But not only that, it's like right when you write the content, then you got to think about it and not post it, let it sit for a while, put it together. Like for you, how did that work out, and over time, how did you develop that?
I found it was too much pressure to think of content on the fly. So I'm just not a content on the fly kind of person. So I was like, how could I make this the easiest, right? So this is why this framework was so important to me, because it's easy to come up with content on the thing you're the most passionate for, right? Like you got content for days on holistic homes. Like literally, you named up 10 posts.
Thousands of years.
Yeah, you have, so on the thing that you're the most passionate about, right? And so if you now have permission, right, to incorporate that into your business, it's a lot easier. I'm a journaler, and I listen to lots of podcasts, read lots of books. For me, it's always been super helpful to read and journal, podcast, journal, right? If I see somebody's great post, I pay attention to it. I am a very structured human being, so I have downtime on Sunday nights where I put my kids to bed early, I put my husband to bed, and then I just do my thing, right? It's neat to process your own journals, but I know I'm not the kind of person who can think of a post and post it. It takes me too long. And because I know the framework is so important, I like to process the framework. You have the framework literally right here. If you fill it out for every post, right, you will always have a good post, right? The framework is right here. So it took me a while. That's just what works for me. I think a little bit every day is a lot more attainable than doing that would take me maybe 3 hours. And I don't have that kind of creative juice. I just don't. But how many of you guys listen to podcasts in the morning or a book? Okay. Do you listen to a morning show? What do you do in the mornings?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I drink coffee. I do read and I do listen to books, but I never listen to a self-help book.
You never listen to a what book?
A self-help book.
Oh yeah, you don't have to listen to a self-help book.
No.
Gross.
They're just
What? No, what do you listen to?
Oh, I have several authors that I like to listen to.
So fiction?
Yeah.
Yeah. So every story is actually written with the same type of framework. Every movie is actually written with the same type of framework, guys. Right? There's literally always you get introduced to the hero, you break down your 5 things, that hero has a problem, right? We all care, right? There's an evil person, right? So,
Sure.
right? And so just think about it. So you've read something, what's the lesson that you can drag from it? I was reading my book today, I know it's fiction, but it just reminded me of this. I love Jane Green, so I love rom-coms in books. And so she was actually writing a book on a house on Nantucket. And she really described this house, and I was like, oh my God, I just would love to see that kind of architecture here, right? One of the only places that you see that is in Arcadia, right? Or in Gilbert. There's an area in Gilbert that has custom homes, and they're so beautiful, right? That could be an easy way to incorporate that, right? Stephen King has really, really good descriptions. I know, but he has really good descriptions of real estate,
Yeah.
you would be surprised how you can bring your zone of genius in marketing, right? And probably you never thought about that before I just mentioned it. Okay, so whatever your morning routine is, incorporate some journaling, you'll figure out your posts. Okay, I promise it'll happen. And the more practice you get, the better you become. Here's what's wonderful about social media. The first 20 plus posts, no one reads. So you can get your worst stuff out right at the beginning, no one's gonna see them, but you have to get through 20 bad posts, right, for people to even catch on. So you're never gonna have a post that, you could have a post that goes viral, it's rare, right? So don't be afraid of posting, right? You have to get through 20, right, ones that get 5 likes, right? And then you start getting traction, okay? So that's what's good about social media. So remember, it's 20, no one reads. So they can be terrible. Okay, but it will get easier through time. That was a really great question. And guys, just so you know, Activated Agent designs logos, helps with brand stories, does websites. I mean, they're amazing. They've helped me out with a ton of my stuff, with my partner stuff. Like, you'll look and you'll see our lender page and a variety of websites that they have designed. They're awesome. And you have an office like right here. So if you guys need additional like branding help and logo design, they're your people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any books that you've read on social media or outside
So,
of this?
I'm in a high-level mastermind with people that sell a lot online, and I've spent the last year studying it. There's a really great book called Launch when it comes to like launching a program and ads on Facebook. You know, Digital Marketer has some really great courses. There's not a book,
Okay.
right? I mean, there's a bunch of books on how to be likable, but my personal thought leading opinion is that you just want the right people to like you. You don't need everyone to like you, right? So if you speak in your zone of genius, the right people will like you. You know. Okay. Any other ones? Okay. So can I ask you an honest question? Did you get value out of today?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I am not a motivational speaker or a social media expert, but I am a hungry loan officer dying for your business. So if you got value out of today, I would love a lead. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Yay. You can clap. That was great.
That was on my own, right?